This is a special bottle of rum, a style of rum that has been basically unavailable in the United States, and a style of rum that was used by Trader Vic to make Mai Tais in the 1940s. Maybe. This special bottle is the Holmes Reunion Island Rum Traditionnel. It is a molasses-based rum, which is unusual for most of us that only know French-style rums to be the agricole type. That's rum that's made from sugarcane juice and not molasses. This bottle is 46% ABV and aged for 3 years in ex-cognac casks. Okay, once again, we're talking about the Mai Tai, and we're gonna unpack the rums used in the Mai Tai according to Trader Vic. Let's jump in our time machine and head back to 1944, where Trader Vic created a cocktail with lime juice, orgeat, rock candy syrup, curacao, and rum. A very specific rum, a 17-year-old Jamaican rum from J. Ray and Nephew. Vic serves this drink to his friends, the Guilds, where one of them exclaims, Mai Tai, and yes, they exclaimed the word Mai Tai. And no, I did not say that wrong. They would have not said Mai Tai, they would have said Mai Tai. Was it Eastham Guild that said Mai Tai, or was it Carolyn Guild? We don't know because Trader Vic himself gives conflicting reports. On one account, he says it was Ham or Eastham, and then on another, he says that it's Carrie that said it. We're not even sure that Vic made this drink himself when he served it to them, because at one account, he says he's in the back with a bartender, another that he's out with them and has a bartender make some more and bring them out to him, so who knows? And hey, while this video is all about the rum, which we will get to, here's a great reminder about the ingredients used in a Mai Tai, and I promise that no matter who you are, you will learn something new here today, I guarantee it. First, it's the lime juice. They probably didn't measure this, and they were just literally squeezing in the juice of one lime. And if you happen to have one of these old lime juicers, you'll see that the modern day limes you get, just the standard size ones, they don't even fit in this juicer, so it would have been a smaller lime as well. Rock candy syrup, that's a 2-to-1 ratio, or what we call a rich simple syrup. It's not 3-to-1, it's not 4-to-1, it's not anything else. And I have a reliable source on this information, and it's Trader Vic. Trader Vic has a recipe for rock candy syrup, so let's just move on from thinking it's anything other than a 2-to-1 ratio, unless you are, of course, buying the modern day Trader Vic syrups, the modern day rock candy syrup, because that's a 1-to-1 simple syrup. Curacao from Holland. It wasn't from Holland, but from New Jersey, because De Kuyper had been making all of their US sold liqueurs in New Jersey since the repeal of Prohibition. Not to mention that in 1944, Holland was not exporting anything to anyone, or at least anyone who would have been dealing with us in a friendly way. Orgeat from France, that's P. Garnier Orgeat from France, that is. And let me tell you a little secret between just us. That Orgeat from France probably was not from France. It appears it may have been from New Jersey, and not related in any way to De Kuyper, but related to the importers extraordinaire Julius Wiles and Son. In 1943, P. Garnier is listed as being located in Teterboro, New Jersey. Now, this is the only reference I could find to this, and I don't want to be one of those people on the internet that just claims something to be a fact when it's not. But we do know for certain that from 1940 to 1944 at the earliest that P. Garnier was not distilling and exporting anything to the United States. France was under German occupation during that entire time. We also know that Julius Wiles went to France to learn these techniques from Paul Garnier himself, and these techniques may have been brought stateside during the war, but right now, I just can't say that for certain. And this, to my knowledge, is the oldest picture of that orgeat, and it's from 1952, along with an unknown Trader Vic cocktail that has been lost to time. We will get to that someday. But now, the most overhyped ingredient of all of cocktail history, it's the rum used in the Mai Tai. First, it was a 17-year-old Ray and Nephew, a fine Jamaican rum aged for 17 years in the tropics. Trader Vic said that rum was only used for 1 year before they moved on to different blends. He actually said it was used less than 1 year, so just keep that in mind. Less than 1 year. Recently, Appleton Estate came out with their own 17-year-old rum, perfect for a Mai Tai, a true recreation of the classic. But was it really? because while they may have used the same marks, followed the same recipes, and created a 100% pot still rum, I'm not so sure that the aging they did on this would have been close to that original 17-year-old rum. Matt Petrick, or the cocktail wonk, dove deep into this many years ago, and what he found was that it was most likely that the 17-year-old rum was aged in larger puncheon barrels, which were 2.5 to 3 times larger than the typical used American oak whiskey barrels. Those puncheon barrels also may have been made from French oak, because if you back up 17 years from 1944, you would be many years into American Prohibition. There would be no ex-whiskey American oak barrels to use. And since the aging plays such a significant factor in the final product, I mean, have any of the aged Hampton rums and then compare it to Rumfire, for instance, how does this new bottle even come close to comparing to the original? There would just be way more age influence on the new Legend rum and potentially a different type of wood. Just something to think about before forking over thousands of dollars through an online auction to get yourself something that may or may have not been like the original. When Vic runs out of the 17-year-old rum, he moves on to the 15-year-old rum, also from Ray and Nephew in Jamaica. After he runs low on that stock, he moves to the first adjusted formula in an effort to stretch out the 15-year-old supply. Martin Kate discusses this in the Smuggler's Cove book, and this first adjusted formula is made with 1 ounce of 15-year-old Ray and Nephew and a blend of Red Heart or Karuba rums, dark or black Jamaican rums. Vic would go on to adjust this again in the so-called second adjusted formula and use a Martinique rum. And that leads us back to where we are today, because while it's not proven, it's theorized in the Smuggler's Cove book that this Martinique rum would not have been an agricole sugarcane juice-based rum, but a molasses-based rum. And this isn't an unfounded theory. It comes from Trader Vic's words. From his 1946 book of Food and Drink to the 1972 Bartender's Guide, Vic defines Martinique rums as French rums. They're usually heavy in body, coffee-colored, very similar to Jamaican rums, but in many cases have the dry burn flavor of the Demerara. This flavor, however, is very faint. The rum produced in Martinique is in many cases shipped to France, where it is aged and reshipped as French rum. One of the finest rums is Rum St. James, made on the plantations of St. James. Those tasting notes sound nothing like a fresh sugarcane juice-based rum. So the use of Martinique rum today, whether that's sugarcane juice-based rum or we're piecing it together now that it should be a rum like this, well, that's all based on the second adjusted formula, not the original 17, not the 15, and not the 15 plus Red Heart or Karuba. But we should probably just pump the brakes here for a minute. I don't understand why a lot of the emphasis is placed on the second adjusted formula, but I have a theory. I think people hear second and they think it's the second one. Like he ran out of the 17, which was first, and then he used this blend with the Martinique rum as the second one. But it's not the second iteration of rum juice, it's version 4, and that's version 4 of 5, because the third adjusted formula, as I am calling it, is never, and I mean never, ever mentioned. This comes from Trader Vic's 1973 autobiography, where he says he used a blend of Puerto Rican, Martinique, Jamaican, and Guinea rum. Now there has at times been rum made in Guinea, but maybe he was referring to Guyana. I don't know. If we are taking the words of Trader Vic as gospel and not picking and choosing his words that fit our personal narratives, why are we not talking about the fifth blend here? Just something to think about. Here's why these rums matter. They were the first rums used in the Mai Tai and the variations that came after from Trader Vic himself, a drink that would go on to become the most famous tiki cocktail of all time and one of the most popular cocktails in general. Printed in hundreds if not thousands of books, served in tens of thousands of bars, and featured in great length by a specific YouTube channel more than 55 times. I don't know if it's actually 55, but it feels like 55 or more. But here's why it doesn't matter. The first rum, the 17-year-old rum, as well as the second adjusted formulas, and then the third, and the one with the rum from Guinea and so on were not used when this drink was popular. They were not used when the drink was popular. This drink did not become popular in Oakland, and its popularity was not from any location that had the name Trader Vic's attached to it. It was the Matson Company and their hotels that had the Mai Tai on the menu, a menu created by Trader Vic. And that Mai Tai was made for the tourist. It used a combination of light rum and dark rum. I call this the reason the Mai Tai is famous formula. Not some heavily aged rum or some rare expensive rum, just a light Puerto Rican rum and a dark Jamaican rum. That combo of rums immortalized the drink. And when you combine a light rum and a dark Jamaican rum, you get something that tastes like a dark Jamaican rum, but lighter. Coffee-colored, nutty, and sometimes heavy. Whether or not this rum here today comes anything close to the rum used in the second adjusted formula, we will just never know, because we don't know what kind of Martinique rum was being used. It kind of doesn't matter either, since I just shared with you 6 variations of rum or rums used in the Mai Tai. And if we are basing all of this off of the words and tasting notes of Trader Vic, the holy grail is that 17-year-old rum. After that, it would be the 15. And then this cheap Trader Vic's Mai Tai rum would be the next best thing for you to get your hands on. Today, when you buy a bottle of Mai Tai rum, you have the closest taste to the 17-year-old rum you can buy. It is a very good and very popular drink, and I feel very proud of it. And don't snicker at that, because seriously, if you really care about all of these things, the man himself said that his rum from 1973 was the closest that you can get to the original. And if you think he is full of it, then you can't trust anything else either. But having said all of this, when it comes to the second adjusted formula, or version 4 of the Mai Tai rums, I love that people are thinking about it. And the people at Holmes know that we are freaks about this stuff and have a rum just for us. Whether it's close to the original or the blends or it's not, doesn't really matter, because this is not about the Mai Tai alone, but about all of the recipes from classic tiki cocktails that called for Martinique rum. It appears that we should not be using an agricole style rum, but I'm also smart enough to know that that's not going to ever change. It's too late to bring that horse back into the barn, at least on a large scale. But for those of you watching this right now, you now know that this is probably the style of rum, and I say probably, that is more historically accurate to those cocktails that call for a Martinique rum. Let's make a Mai Tai using this new rum. I happen to have more than a Mai Tai in front of me because in front of me is a make and drink triangle taste test that's neat in a daiquiri and in a Mai Tai, the holy trinity of tastings. And yes, I know what a real triangle taste test is, and I know that this is not it, but this just sounds catchy. The Mai Tai and the daiquiri are half cocktails. I'm not going to drink 2 full cocktails right now. The first time, this is the first time that I'm having the Holmes rum Traditionnel. When I got the bottle a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or more ago, I did open it just to smell it. I like to open bottles that I have for 2 reasons. One, to just like get an aroma of it, see what it smells like. And 2 is that way I'm not super precious about it. Unless it's a backup bottle or something very expensive, I like to open it. That way and sometimes I do open expensive ones. So there's kind of like no excuses not to use it. It kind of forces you to drink what you have. And the first impression I had then was it reminded me a lot of the Holmes Grand Arome. And if you've had that one, you know that one. The bottles are similar, so that could be part of my like preconceived notion, but I got some of that industrialness that has a industrial funk, ketchup, savory quality to it, plasticky, which on its own I don't love, but in a cocktail in the right quantity, it can be delicious. It's familiar, like it has a much more appealing aroma than the Grand Arome. There's a sweetness to it, but you still get some of this industrial note. Trying to describe what an industrial aroma is can be challenging. It's not as much fruit forward as other rums, and I think that industrial note that you get, it's something that once you get it, you understand. But that plasticky, band-aidy type thing, all unappealing, but in this much cleaner and sweeter. If I had not ever had the Grand Arome, I don't think I would be able to really categorize this because it has a funkiness that is not Jamaican. The quality of it is not what we're used to with overripe fruit Jamaican notes, and it has, you know, a level of funk that's not too much. But I do think in a cocktail it can provide a flavor that you're not really able to get with other rums, and part of it is a savory quality, and sometimes you might associate savory qualities with some of the rum from Mexico. It is definitely different than that, but that industrial-ish funk that's just different and savory and somewhat rubbery, plasticky is there. It's just it's much more mild than the Grand Arome, but that's the best I can really do for you without spending too much time with this. I don't know who else has really talked about this rum. The video I'm showing right now, they sent me this bottle. Holmes sent me this bottle over a month ago now, and I kind of like sat down and put this whole video together, and then life got going, and I didn't get to it until now. So I've had the bottle, just haven't really sat with it and tried it, and I don't even know who else out there has talked about this, but it is dramatically different from Demerara rum and Jamaican rum, and obviously like the calm still Puerto Rican style rums. It has its own place there, and it's much different than any sugarcane juice based rum. So the next thing in this make and drink triangle taste test is to try it in a daiquiri. Cheers. It's excellent. The savory quality still comes through. Very much tastes like a daiquiri. It's nice and it's bright and it's still crisp. And the I mean, I hate to say the word funky because it reminds me of the El Dorado High Ester, which is like, it has its own kind of thing and it's not Jamaican because it doesn't have Jamaican funk. Like this isn't like having any of the pot still Jamaican rums in a daiquiri. You can add some flavor there, but it's not that bold. It kind of feels light and it kind of feels refreshing with the lime juice and the sugar, and overall it makes a tasty daiquiri. Let us move on now to the reason we are here, which is the Mai Tai. Cheers. There's a nice pleasant bitterness and almost like an astringency to it, and now we're in a cocktail with 4 ingredients, so it gets difficult to pinpoint what is changing. You know, when you talk about is that lime the same limes I always use? Is it the orgeat and the rum and the orange curacao working together? There's so many things going on. Do you think that it lacks the Jamaican flavor that I want in Mai Tais? And when it comes to a Mai Tai, I'm not against anyone that wants to put an agricole style in a Mai Tai. I just personally have a preference that I want Jamaican flavor, and if it's not Jamaican, it's Jamaican and Demerara. Sometimes maybe using Jamaican and like a Puerto Rican, but I really don't want an agricole style in my Mai Tais. This is not that, obviously, and it has a uniqueness to it that is on its own not the best Mai Tai I've ever had, but I think if you were to pair this with some other things, you could potentially, bring forward some interesting flavors and create a Mai Tai or Mai Tai blend that is very unique and different than to what anyone else is doing. So that's it for this one. A new rum for you to make historic cocktails. The Holmes Rum Traditionnel, a rum that's made to imitate and replicate those Martinique rums from the mid-century that were not made from a sugarcane juice base. And how well this translates to you, are you going to prefer a 3 dots and a dash or a second adjusted Mai Tai formula with this over an agricole? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what's accurate. It matters what you like the most and what you want to drink, because whether it's a funky Jamaican rum or a light Puerto Rican rum, whatever you like is the best Mai Tai or the best daiquiri or the best 3 dots on a dash or whatever else it is. You can pick up your own Make and Drink Glencairns at the Make and Drink shop. Mai Tai glasses there as well, and occasionally some vintage glassware from my collection. Thank you to Holmes Key for sending me this bottle. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like below. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to support this channel more, check out my Patreon page. Otherwise, see you on the next one.
There's where I met the girl of my dreams. While we promised that we'd never part, fate was planning and changing